who are aware of this healing art, as well as all the physical dimension beings who are aware of this healing art. It's a very balanced energy. When we draw in the awareness of the higher dimension beings, it brings a real stability, wisdom, love, and grace to the process. There's so much grace in this process. Merging into your body again, merging into your body again. Channels up, staying merged with our own bodies as well as with this greater community. And remembering that there's so much grace. Not confusing our efforts with our results, because our efforts allow the universe to match our efforts, you see? And so we ourselves might be doing only the tiniest little thing, and the rest comes from grace. When we think that we're doing it, sometimes we're setting ourselves up to have to learn the lesson that we aren't doing it, you see? And then that means the grace evaporates. As it must, so that we can learn that we aren't doing it. So some of us are in the process of learning that lesson, that this comes from grace. And it's a beautiful and a very helpful lesson, because when we get past that corner, enough times that we quit falling behind it. You know, I certainly have learned this lesson 20,000 times and probably not finished with it yet. It comes from grace. And remember what activates grace. Does anybody want to say what activates grace? Give some words. Humility. What else? I beg your pardon? No. Effort. The opposite of stepping aside. Effort. Effort. The universe can only match our efforts. If we're not putting any effort into it, what are we giving the universe to match? Nothing. Humility. Ability or willingness to look at the truth. Trust. Surrender while putting effort into it. 100% effort. 0% attachment to results. When we're learning to drive, it's hard to coordinate the steering wheel and the pedals, right? Does anybody remember learning to drive and that was a little tricky? So what our minds want to do is clutch the steering wheel and leave the accelerator to source. But that is exactly opposite of what actually works. What works is to work the accelerator, be the power, put the effort into it, and let the guides steer. Does that make sense? That is what activates grace. That is what activates grace. So if you're have lost your grace, consider letting the guides take the wheel and run the accelerator. Put some effort into it. And let the guides take the wheel. And merge into your body. That's spiritual bypass, to pop out of the body. Is everybody okay? Now, friends, as in all things I ever say, do not accept them at face value. Take that as the working theory, and right now, drop into your body and evaluate the statements for truth. How does one activate grace? Does one activate grace by running the accelerator, by putting effort into it, by powering the process, and letting the guides take the wheel? Would anybody like to speak up about what they have discovered evaluating this statement for truth? Merge into your body so that you can access your body. If you're not merged with your body, you can't tell what it's saying. Someone else said, it feels like my cells absorb or open, which is a yes. True. Somebody questions, not sure how to do that. How to evaluate statements for truth? Well, good thing you're in a class today. We merge with our bodies. Channels up to the guides, merge with the bodies. And if we're not sure how to do that, then we just become aware of the body and ask the body, is it true? Stay merged with your body. Merge on in. We can do this, friends. I want to it's not that I want to. All I ever want to do is do whatever I'm supposed to do in the moment. I want to follow the instruction. Because that's what creates a life of joy. And my instructions are to help other people discover that same thing for themselves. It is a paradox. It's a divine paradox. We think we know what will bring us joy, but pretty much we're always wrong about that. We are. And what actually brings us joy is to let the guides have the wheel and just push the pedal. Remembering life is only between us and Source. All else is the persistent illusion. And it's true. And our guides are the representatives of Source that we can most directly connect with. And knowing how it seems that this is a challenge to do, to connect with guides, don't think you can skip over them and connect with other elements of Source. You see how unlikely that would be? They're bending down. They've got a soul contract with you to help you live your plan. Merge into your body again. They're actively in the game to help you live your soul plan. Skipping over them is a spiritual bypass, just like skipping over the body is a spiritual bypass. Does that make sense? Friends, be in this class for yourselves, first and foremost. And of course we also have little work things to do, but each of them can be a vehicle for our own growth, not a distraction from the growth. Does that make sense? to have the intention to use the actions as a way to grow, rather than as a distraction from growth. Does that make sense? We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. It's going to be a wonderful weekend. It already is a wonderful weekend. 2 minutes. We open the doors. Thank you, Mara. Mara says it not only makes sense, but feels exactly like what was needed. Thank you. I always do my best to simply channel in every moment. I want to make it really clear that I'm not channeling my personal guides. I'm channeling the guides, all the guides who are involved in whatever situation I'm involved in. To the best of my abilities in the moment, which means I stink at it, and they, through grace, make it happen. And now it's 9:30, friends. So thank you, and now we switch codes. So friends in Sarasota and Tampa, please log off and log back on as your own names so that we can tell who's who. It just helps us understand who we're responding to.